Welcome back to Horsemanship 101. And I think this video will tie closely into the last one I just did because it's much more about your mental state than it is about anything that you're actually doing. And emotions just don't belong. You can't have emotions, particularly anxiety, especially anger. That's absolutely a no-no. There have been many sayings I've heard over the years, variations, and there's no place for emotions in good horsemanship, or leave your emotions at the door when you go to work with your horse, things like that. And it all comes down to the same thing because your emotions play a huge role in how the horse is going to behave or react because they're extremely sensitive animals. Actually, I wish I had the other one in here because I wanted to share a story about her. Well, actually, both the other ones, but we don't. Today, we just got this one in here because we're about to give her a pedicure. Thought I'd do this beforehand, but one of my grays, just a couple of days ago, she come into the arena here, and there were some other people in here, and the one lady had a small girl, about 3-4 years old. And as soon as she saw her, she immediately lowered her head and stood motionless while the little girl rubbed on her nose. She knew. She was that sensitive that she knew that little girl was no threat to her. She knew how to behave around her. That's just one example. And that was a very nervous head shy horse, by the way. My other one, many years ago, example is when I first got her, she was pretty nervous and jumpy, didn't want to stand still, that sort of thing. And one day I was, a little down, and I was just sitting out in the pasture on an overturned water trough, just watching them graze, and all of a sudden she kind of looks at me, comes walking over to me, and stops right in front of me, and then lowers her head and lets me rub on her. And she stood there motionless for about 15 minutes, which was totally out of character for her, but she could read me. Horses can read you like a book, and they're very sensitive to your emotions. And she knew what I needed that day. Now, I would not suggest that you rely on your horse to give you what you need at any given time, even though being around horses can certainly improve a bad mood. If you're in a particularly foul mood, chances are you might be better off just stay away from your horse. But what I want to talk about is, learning to control your emotions a bit. I mean, you can't just turn them on and off. It's not that simple. So, but you do have to learn how to somewhat control them because, you can't get angry with the horse. You can't get frustrated. You cannot, allow any negative emotions whatsoever to come into you because the horse will pick up on that and they will react accordingly. Like this one in particular, she'd been abused. She was a very nervous, worried little horse when I got her. So it was extra important that I remain very calm when I'm working with her. She's much better now, but still she's a little bit on she'll never be 100%, but that's okay. I'm good with that. I'm pretty happy where she is now, but we still work on things and gradually improve. But that's not the point. Go back to the emotions. Like I said, horses are extremely sensitive animals. They can read you like a book, and there's absolutely no place for your emotions when you're working with the horse. And unless it's a positive one, like if I happen to be particularly proud of the progress the horse has made or the accomplishment it just achieved, I'm going to, let that build up. I'm going to smile. I'm going to rub on the horse, and it's going to know I'm happy. And that's okay. That's a positive thing. And I don't think that's an issue at all. I'm very proud of the horse. I'm not proud of me. It's not my accomplishment. It's theirs. I'm sure other people could do a far better job much faster than I do. So no point in me getting proud about things. But your emotions, you got to stay cool. You got to stay calm. You'll hear it in a lot of places, and it's extremely important that, you stay level-headed. You don't react to things like, don't get excited, don't get upset, don't get worried, don't get frustrated, and definitely don't get angry because that horse doesn't even know why you're angry because they just don't get that stuff. The only thing they know is positive and negative, and if they're getting a good vibe from you, then they know, hey, I must have done something right. What did I just do? Okay, that was a good thing, I guess, because boss man seems pretty happy about that. So, we'll just continue doing that sort of thing. So, your emotions, extremely important, or lack of. And I had a comment on my last video too, where the guy was talking about due to circumstances that he was rather flat with his emotions when he was working with his horse, and he found out how beneficial that was because he could get into this zone where nothing else mattered but the horse, and he just kind of flowed with the horse, and it was a cool thing. And he was rather excited about that. And, that's what happens when you leave your emotions out of the game and don't worry about it. If the horse doesn't get it right, if you can't figure something out, don't get upset, don't get angry, don't get frustrated. Just take a step back. This is what I do, is I just take a step back and try and figure out, how can I help that horse? Because that's all that really matters, is how I can help that horse. I don't have the right to get angry, upset, frustrated, or anything else. Those things don't come into play. They don't do any good. They will be detrimental to the situation. And if the horse senses those things coming from you, you're just going to have a whole lot more problems, and chances are you're never going to resolve the problem. But if the horse knows you're trying hard to do the right thing, it goes both ways. You have to try too. You can't. It's not just the horse trying. There has to be some try in the human as well. And even if you don't get it right, like I said, just relax, take a step back, and figure out, how can I help that horse? How can I do it a little different, that it's going to understand, that's going to make its life a little better? Don't get upset about it because it didn't work. For me personally, maybe I'm a little odd, but when I'm with horses, I'm just automatically in a good mood. It just, they do that to me. I don't have to work hard at controlling my emotions. Occasionally I have to kind of, put myself in check if I get a little frustrated about something, but that's not too often. And for the most part, it's just a case of, as soon as I'm with the horse, time ceases to exist. I'm in my happy place, and it seems to work, because I don't bring any of those negative emotions with me that will negatively have influence on the horse. And that, that's really, really important. You cannot have negative emotions. Like I said, the only emotion you can't have is if you're happy with the horse, pleased with the horse, proud of the horse. Well, that's probably okay. I won't say that, but otherwise, it's like the saying, leave your emotions at the door. They have no place in good horsemanship. Have a good day.